Hello, welcome to News Today on Joy News Channel on Multi TV. Coming up this hour, human rights activists raise questions about punishments meted out to a goat thief in Achimswedru. Also, armed robbers continue their rampage and attacks on residents of Amanfrom even after police commanders promised to secure the community. And National Peace Council warns of possible violence ahead of next year's general elections if concerns over voters' register are ignored. We have business, sports and entertainment coming up. Please stay. Welcome to News Today. I'm Francisca Kakrafos, and let's get started. The director of Amnesty International Ghana is questioning the legality of punishment meted out to a man convicted for stealing a goat in Achimswedru. The judge ordered the man to parade the streets of the town with a stolen goat and place a placard around his neck. But Lawrence Amesu of Amnesty International says this punishment infringed on the rights of the convict.
Thank you very much for taking up this issue. Yesterday I read in the paper about the judge's judgment. Amnesty International is very worried that our courts in Ghana will take such a decision because for Amnesty International we should not accept any kind of torture, and this is a psychological torture. It is very dehumanizing for us in Ghana that is considered as a top or leading human rights adherent country in the sub-region of West of Africa. For a judge to decide that somebody should take a goat that he has stolen and be paraded in the community and be hooted is totally unacceptable. We think that this is very dehumanizing. It tramples on his human rights and his dignity, and that should not happen in our history in Ghana again. I'm very happy that there will be the Judicial Council will be taking up this issue to look at it, to investigate, for us to know why the judge took that decision.
But one will also say that the judge had the discretion.
Thank you very much. I think our prisons are very congested, and Amnesty International and indeed all human rights activists have been encouraging our courts, our judges, our magistrates to look at non-custodial sentences, and the judge in taking that decision should not go for a decision that will trample on anybody's human rights. We think that
over the years, crossing the 37 Tetekwashi Highway at the spot popularly known as Spanner Junction has been a difficult and dangerous task for pedestrians. Vehicles from 37 towards Medina and vice versa drive at top speed, only making way for pedestrians to cross when the traffic light turns red. However, on many occasions when the lights are not working, pedestrians are forced to run across the road at the risk of their lives. There have been several deaths and injuries resulting from knockdowns on that stretch, with drivers often speeding off and leaving the victims to their fate. An overhead walkway currently under construction will bring relief to pedestrians when commissioned. My colleague Michaela Anderson visited the area and has come through with this report.
Pedestrians who normally cross this stretch of road here at the Tetekwashi interchange in Fear can now heave a sigh of relief. That is because the footbridge behind me is almost completed and it will soon be open to them. The construction of the bridge has been necessitated by the numerous accidents on this stretch of road. Many have been killed and others severely injured.
Oh, they keep long because anytime we cross this road, accidents, knocking, it's very, very bad.
One day I just left from work and I was crossing and I just heard bam, someone was just knocked. And and I feel really somehow. So it's really good that we would be using the footbridge instead of the road, and it will decrease the rate of death on the road.
Some young men who are briskly doing some paving works and walkways say the footbridge will be open to the public by Monday, and this means bad news for hawkers who sell around the footbridge, because we understand the place will be barricaded.
We are trying to barricade around the whole place so that they won't get access to come and sell here. And I think AMA will also monitor the activities here so that selling will be avoided. Yeah, we will complete here maybe by the end of the week and open it by the end of the month.
The interesting thing about this footbridge located here at the Tetekwashi interchange is that it is disability friendly, and it is expected that when the I's are dotted, T's crossed, and projects finally commissioned, it will drastically reduce the accident rate on this stretch of road. Michaela Anderson for Joy News.
There are calls for better security for the presidential correspondents. This follows the death of a reporter of the Ghanaian Times newspaper who died in an accident involving members of the Presidential Press Corps. On the late-night current affairs show PM Express, editor of Ghanaian Times, Dave Agbenu, said security for the journalist reporting from the presidency appears to have deteriorated.
You may have little or no say in the kind of means that are given to you, because normally the defense they will put up is that, well, you were sent by your media house and that's what we have to offer. But I can say, with all the knowledge I have in that area, that some time ago, whilst we were there, our security and our safety was paramount. Paramount in the sense that we will not be giving a driver who is not trained, who is not trained in defensive driving, who is not trained in protocol driving, who is not trained in security driving. We will not be giving a vehicle that is not roadworthy, that is not strong enough to travel a very, very long distance in a robust manner, just to keep up the pace in a convoy.
The National Peace Council is asking the Electoral Commission to seriously look into concerns over the credibility of the voters' register. The council is warning of the risk of violence ahead of next year's general elections. The opposition New Patriotic Party has demanded a new voters' register for the elections in 2016, claiming the current one is bloated. Chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Professor Emmanuel Asante, says ignoring the opposition party's concern would be a mistake.
The fact that we are talking about this means that there is a need for the Electoral Commission to really take that seriously. But I would think that they will not just limit it to the political parties, because, you know, I mean, stakeholders are more than just people who are actively involved in partisan politics. Civil society also come in. But I must say that I'm glad I have cited a letter, a copy of which had been sent to the Peace Council, that the Electoral Commission wants to get stakeholders to discuss the whole issue. I think that it is important that we sit and discuss it, look at the pros and cons of the arguments that are being presented from different quarters, and find a common platform and let's reach a consensus before we go to the ballot.
Why do you think it's important to settle this before the poll?
I think it is important because if we don't do that, what is going to happen is that you then would have allowed people, giving people the opportunity to either reject, you know, the credibility of the vote. It might even lead to conflict, which might degenerate into violence.
And is a Peace Council ready to help in this conversation, this talk?
The Peace Council will be more than ready for that. As a matter of fact, we definitely will be meeting, for instance, and we hope that we will be able to meet with the Electoral Commission on this particular issue.
The Director of Public Affairs at Parliament, Jones Kublinu, is dead. He passed away at dawn today in the United Kingdom. Edwin Arthur is the Dean of Parliament's Press Corps, and he joins us on the line. Thank you very much, Edwin, for joining us, and condolences to you. I can barely hear you, but Edwin, I was extending my condolences to you. Kindly tell us about Mr. Kublinu's death.
Thank you very much. My regards to all your listeners. We received this sad news this morning. The Parliamentary Press Corps I'm speaking to, we are at Goso in the Brona for an activity. And so I received a call from a highly placed officer at the Public Affairs Department of Parliament, informing me officially that through me he was informing the Parliamentary Press Corps of this sad news of the death of the Director of Public Affairs. It's a sad news indeed, because this is one man who was like a father to all of us. He was the one who gave the activities of the Parliamentary Press Corps a clear direction and focus. His department was created by the late Right Honorable Peter Ala Ajete. And so until the creation of that department, he indeed is the first director of the department. And until the creation or his appointment as a director, we existed in Parliament. The Parliamentary Press Corps existed in Parliament. But our activities were disjointed. But when he came as the Director of Public Affairs, our activities were given clear direction and focus. So we knew what we were doing at what time. And so it's sad for us. In fact, we would have wished that he lived longer to see the fruit of what he sowed some years back. It's very sad indeed. So yes, indeed, the confirmation is that Mr. Jones Kublinu is no more with us. And all of us, when we heard the news, we were shocked, because we know that he's been battling with illness. He was thrown outside, he was brought back, he was thrown back again. Our prayer was that, well, he would come back and resume his post so that we could work together with him. But, well, the unfortunate incident happened at dawn today in the UK, and it's sad for us. It's sad. We cannot take this sad news. But, well, that is what God can do. Our hearts are out there with the family. We wish that we'll be in Accra, so that we'll be in the office to support the Public Affairs Department. I can imagine what is going on there. But Jones was a good person, I can assure you. Very professional. And he will always give you a counsel as if he was your father.
Edwin,
you have lost a very good person.
Edwin, this is a man you have worked with for many years. Share with us your personal fondest memories of him.
Well, like I said, personally, I knew Jones in 2003 when he was appointed the Director of Public Affairs. Oftentimes I went overboard, and then he would call me to his office. Oh no, Edwin, you should have done it this way, you should have done it that way. He would not rebuke you, sort of. He would let you feel that, yes, indeed, you yourself, you got it wrong. And so you always want to go to him for advice. Anytime that you had any personal problems, Jones will be there for you. This is the man we have lost. So personally, my experience with him, yes, he will talk to you about on professional lines, and then when it comes to personal issues, when it comes to your family problems, when you share what you share with him, Jones will be there for you. Jones will give you the support. Jones will give you the needed advice, and then you will come out of that situation.
Okay.
Very happy, a happy person.
Okay. Thank you very much, Edmond Latte. He's Dean of Parliamentary Press Corps. Edwin Arthur, I beg your pardon, and he was sharing some fond memories of the late Jones Kublinu, whom we know was also working at the GBC for some years. This is still news today with me, Francisca Kakra. So we'll take a quick break. We'll bring you more stories. Welcome back. An opinion leader at Amanfrom near Kaswa has accused some residents of being illegally involved in the non-stop robbery attacks in the area. The community has seen a number of violent armed robberies over the past 3 months. But an elder of the town, David Nyameku, believes some residents have a hand in these attacks. We are joined on the line by Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, who has been following the story for the past 3 months. Joseph, any information you have, especially from the end of the police, as to finding or catching up with these perpetrators? Hello, Joseph.
Francisca, good afternoon to you. I'm currently in the town. It so happens that as I speak to you, the residents and other community leaders have been holding a meeting with the police and also the municipal chief executive, who is also the head of the Security Council here. And so, you know, the meeting has involved all of these community leaders, and the agenda for the meeting has been to strategize on how to ensure adequate security in the light of the numerous armed robbery cases. The police have been assuring the landlord that the things they intend doing going forward would be to increase patrols in the area. They say they've done that over the last few weeks, but it looks like those measures are not making any inroads as far as dealing with the crime situation is concerned. So they'll be looking forward to deploying more men there. The municipal chief executive has also been outlining what he says is a community involvement, strategy when it comes to dealing with the situation. So that he, for example, speaks of the absence of a police post around the Amanfrom, and he says one of the things they will do would be to ensure that every single landlord pays some amount of money to help with the construction of the police post. Specifically, he says every landlord will be made to provide 3 bags of cement in order to support the establishment of the police post. And that is a long-term measure. Additionally, he's also been assuring that the poor roads there, NADMO has actually tracks which they are using to provide gravels to help make the road a bit more motorable, so that police persons who are going on patrol will be able to do it appropriately and deal with any suspected robbers who may be operating in the area in the days ahead.
Joseph, you've been interacting with residents in the town. How are they responding to these assurances coming from the police?
Mainly the feedback has been that these are the kind of assurances that they've heard before from the police, but that has not actually materialized in terms of helping deal with the problem. Their main concern has been with the roads, and they say the assurance that the MC is also giving that they will put in place measures to make the roads motorable again are measures that they've had before, particularly when it's approaching the rainy season. They come around, they try to level it, but once the security situation settles down a bit, then they let it go. So they appear not very much convinced as far as these assurances are concerned. And they say they're looking forward to the fruit that these assurances will bring in terms of helping keep the place secure. That's the only time that they would secure. But for these assurances that are coming in, well, they say they would rather wait and see what happens in the days ahead.
And I'm sure the residents are terrified, especially those who were directly affected by these robberies. But can you tell us the mood in the town?
Well, it's more like, people who are virtually afraid of everything, including their own neighbors. They make the point repeatedly, the armed robbery incident has happened, they've happened in the night. But even during the day, there's been a number of such incidents. Someone, for example, at the meeting a while ago, referred to what happened to him. During the day, he had gone to work. By the time he came back, someone, the robbers had cut through his window, gotten into the house, and taken out items. And this was something which happened during the day. And so they make the point that it looks like the security situation has virtually gone out of hand. Because in the night, they are being attacked. During the day, they are not safe either. So they are unable to leave their homes to get to work. And
Hello, Joseph.
And all of that is creating problems for them, which they want the security officials to actually deal with, Francisca.
Okay, we'll leave it here. That's Joseph Opoku-Gakpo. He is in Amanfrom, the community that has been terrified by armed robbers. Joining us in the studio is Beatrice Edu. She's also returned from then. She's been interacting. Opinion leader who accuses some of the residents of being complicit.
Exactly.
Tell us more about that.
He's saying that he's approached the residents several times to contribute financially towards a police post they are trying to put up, so that at least they can have the presence of the police in the community, so they don't have to go through all the headache, that terrible road they have to go through when they have to come in and help them. And they are not interested in doing that. Beyond that, he claims that he has evidence that some of these residents give directions to the homes of some of the victims.
And did he share any of this evidence?
He didn't share the evidence, but he says that's what he's got.
And what have the residents been saying about this accusation from the opinion leader?
He spoke to me after I had spoken to the residents, so they don't have an idea that the opinion leader is accusing some of them. But those residents who spoke to me, for instance, a 40-year-old woman, Grace Ando, claimed that when the robbers came in, they actually butchered the husband, butchered the son afterwards, and then one of them stripped her naked and started trying to have sex with her. So it took one soldier who lives just in the neighborhood, who heard the screams, to fire a warning shot. That was when the robber got off her. Fortunately, according to the woman, in her words, he couldn't penetrate and he ran away.
Give us an idea of their mental state. This must be terrifying, being attacked with machetes and guns. Let's get into their minds. How were they to you?
It is. You could see that they were living in fear. You could see fear written on their faces, and they were telling me that they can't even sleep at night because they don't know when the robbers will come in to attack them and how they would even do it. So they just stay awake in the night.
Important thing the police said was that they were going to increase their patrols. From your interaction with the residents, are there any patrols at all?
There are patrols, but it seems these patrols are not enough. And the police have appointed some people in the community to complement the work they are doing. But the challenge of these residents is that they are not armed. And so when these people come, they come with machetes and they are firing their guns. They have to run for their lives because they can't attack them without weapons.
And let's talk about the problem with the road. How will that help fix the problem?
It's the road. When they fix it, I can say that would help. Let me describe to you when I went to the community. The road is bumpy, is meandering, and is dusty. You can't use your... It's difficult being on that road. A lot of the roads leading to the houses of people are not even properly demarcated, which means that when the robbers come, they can easily have their way.
But it's interesting that the police complain about this road impeding their working, but the robbers are able to use the same road.
Because they use motorbikes and the police use vehicles, and by the time they get there, it's late.
Okay, we'll leave it here. I'll keep our eyes on that story. But that's Beatrice Edu. She also returned from Amanfrom about a spate of armed robbery attacks there. We hope the police will increase their patrols indeed and also help fight the perpetrators. Now, a group of taxi drivers in the Accra-Tema area is threatening a sit-down strike from next year. They say the action is to protest against new insurance premiums, which they describe as too prohibitive. Prince Kofi Amankwa is a member of the Committed Drivers Union and joins us on the telephone with more of their demands. Good afternoon to you, Prince, and thank you for joining us. Now, the premiums have been in effect for a while. Why now?
Can you please come again? Your voice is very faint.
Okay, I'm going to try and raise my voice and hope that you can hear me. The question is, why are you protesting against the increased premiums at this time? They've been in existence for a while.
Okay, if I heard you right, are you asking why are we going on strike, or was that the question?
Yes, Prince. Why are you threatening this strike?
Oh, okay. It's simply this. We have had a meeting with DDLA over the issue of some of the new policies that they have or they intend implementing or they have started implementing. And some of these issues are got to do with compulsory driving school, no license for illiterate, computerized driving test in English, automated and computerized wood body sessions, renewal of truck number plate every 2 years, temporary license card, and a whole lot.
So, Prince, those are the details of the requirements of this new premium. Tell us how it will affect your business, or it is already affecting your business.
Come again. The line is very faint.
I apologize for that, but I'm asking how the requirements of this new premium affects your business.
Okay, you see, the whole thing is, let me take one and speak about it. For instance, if we say an illiterate must not drive, it means if you are not educated, you cannot hold a wheel and drive. And we think it's an abuse of our rights as drivers in this country. And therefore, we are speaking against it.
Oh, hello, Prince.
Hello?
Can you hear me? So,
yeah, I can hear you.
So you're threatening a sit-down strike next week. What will happen? What does that mean?
It means we are laying down all our tools. We are not going to work. So they think if you do that, you'll be able to draw the person of the institution in question to our protest and for them to address.
And have you made your concerns known to the appropriate authorities before embarking on the sit-down strike?
Before this press conference, there had been a strike that happened during the year, this very year. And it was about the same issue. And the DVLA and the insurance commission or insurance companies promised to meet it, of which they failed to meet. And we think they are not treating us fair, or they are not considered to be some people already they think we are illiterate, and for that matter, we don't matter in society. And so anything at all they like, they can just impose on us.
Prince, let me quickly get an understanding. What's the average education background of many of your members? What's
you want to know our education background?
Yes, on the average.
With this, I don't have any data to speak about.
But let's take yourself. Let's take yourself. What's the highest level of education for you?
Myself?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I am a Form 5 leaver.
Okay, we'll leave it here. That's a member of Committed Taxi Drivers. They are threatening a sit-down strike next week. You're still here on News Today on Joy News on Multi TV with me, Francisca Kakra-Force, and stay tuned for business. Welcome to the business segment on News Today. The Ghana Revenue Authority has already amassed some 1.7 million cedis from the distress action it embarked on last Friday. Chief Revenue Officer and Director of the Special Task Force, Theophilus Gaskin, tells Joy Business the exercise, which led to the closure of some defaulting businesses, has already yielded significant results.
The Margins ID Systems Limited. They made some payments to us, but they've issued checks totaling 1.054 million Ghana cedis, which is just about 50% of the total liability, which is 2 million and something. And then we are in discussion with them to ensure the payment of the outstanding liability, 1 million. So at least 50% of the amount has been paid. Aviation handling services, they paid the full amount. The total liability was 660,000. And they settled all. It's 1.714 million Ghana cedis.
The Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry projects the cedi could hit 6 cedis to $1 in 2 months. President Dr. Seth Ejeba has described the fall in the value of the cedi as nauseating.
As of Saturday, August 22, $1 was selling at 4 cedi 37 pesos and buying at 4 cedi 20 pesos on the forex market. 1 British pound was selling at 6 cedis 86 pesos and buying at 6 cedis 59 pesos. The euro was also selling at 4 cedi 94 pesos and buying at 4 cedi 74 pesos. At the interbank exchange level, $1 was buying at 4 cedi 1 peso and selling at 4 cedi 2 pesos. The British pound was selling at 6 cedis 30 pesos and buying at 6 cedis 29 pesos, while the euro was buying at 4 cedi 55 pesos and selling at 4 cedi 55 pesos. The Ghana Chamber of Commerce and Industry projects the cedi could hit 6 cedis to $1 in 2 months.
Well, I'm not surprised of that because the structures that will arrest the cedi depreciation have not been put in place. And so long as we still import more than we export, we are not balancing the equation. And the temporary measures taken by the Bank of Ghana, we were all aware that they wouldn't be able to sustain it. And when they leave it, it's going to be worse. We're projecting the cedi getting to about 6 cedis by December. But the way it looks like, maybe we'll hit there by October ending.
Dr. Seth Ejeba has described the fall of the cedi as nauseating, calling on the Bank of Ghana to arrest the situation and save businesses from total collapse.
In the short term, because Christmas is at the corner and demand is higher than supply, automatically they should find a way to inject some foreign currency into the system so that people will be able to buy and sell at a reasonable standard rate within the period to satisfy Ghanaians.
Meanwhile, the Association of Ghana Industries has advised businesses to strategize in order to remain in business.
For those who are importing large volumes of raw materials, I speak more for industry, so those importing large volumes of raw materials, it's always good to hedge a bit, plan advance, hedge so that if the cedi depreciates, you have a certain pricing formula that enables you to recover significant part of your sales. Because otherwise, by the time you finish selling to pay your raw materials, the cedi would have depreciated so much that you can't just mobilize that kind of funds.
The cedi from 2012 has continuously depreciated against the major currencies, a situation that affected every sector of the country's economy. Etonamse, Joy News.
The dip in the value of the cedi may not be the only worry for the managers of the economy. The fall in commodity prices, especially for oil and cocoa, will no doubt impact negatively on Ghana's revenue target. But what could the impact be? George Uafe of Joy Business shared details with Kemini Amano.
Again, for those who are managing the economy, the argument is that all other things being equal, maybe by next month, if these inflows come in, that is the Eurobond, cocoa loan syndication, the IMF funds as well, that will give some indication that our reserve position will improve. And then the Bank of Ghana might be in a position to release more dollars onto the market to meet the supplies or the demand, of the commercial banks and importers. So the Bank of Ghana itself is projecting that by September, things should stabilize. Now, if still there's concern that the perception, the outlook is not good, that could drive demand, and again, the possibilities that they could go down further. But if the Bank of Ghana, these inflows come in time, then they might be able to release more dollars onto the market to try and hold the city's depreciation for a while, because it's all about a supply issue, a supply and demand. If you don't have enough supplies on the market to meet demands of businesses, then we see the depreciation. Don't forget that a lot of businesses are trying to import now for the Christmas festivities. So there are a lot of individuals who are walking into commercial banks to secure LCs, which might mature in 90 days. So those are the dynamics here, and still it's bleak, the outlook is not...
But has the central bank stopped pumping in the $20 million?
What we hear is that it's not on a daily basis, but they come onto the market as and when it matters. Otherwise, what will happen to our crude oil imports? What will happen to other goods that we bring in? So they come onto the market to make available some dollars, but ask yourself whether those dollars are enough to meet the demand of businesses, to meet the demand of commercial banks. You still engage a lot of these commercial banks out there, and they say that, well, our demands are not being met. You have about 4 or 5 of the big banks, and together their demand is about almost maybe $5 million, or even maybe $20 million, or even $50 million, or even some as much as $100 million, or even $200 million. So if you have just 20 or 50 being pumped in, divide that by the 28 banks and ask yourself, this individual bank is asking for maybe about $100 million, $200 million. So it still doesn't meet the demand of the commercial banks to meet the needs of businesswomen who walk into their banking halls every day saying that I need this amount of dollars to support my import from China.
Now let's talk about those commodities you mentioned earlier. From where
And that's it for the business segment on News Today. Welcome. The news continues. The Government Hospital Pharmacists Association, or GOSPA, is threatening full withdrawal of services by close of this week because they say government is not taking them seriously. The pharmacists are currently attending to only inpatients and emergency cases in protest against government's inability to resolve their concerns over migration onto the single spine salary structure. They say they're fed up with negotiations to resolve the members' grievances over the migration onto the SSS. Matilda Wemega has been speaking with the pharmacists and joins us on the phone lines. Matilda, what more are they telling you?
I've been speaking with the chairman for GOSPA, and he has been raising issues about their single salary, the way it migrated on the single spine salary structure, issues regarding their grading that has not been done. And this, what we are talking about is it's over 4 years and government has failed to address their concerns. Recently, there was a cabinet subcommittee to look into the matter, and so far, government has only been paying lip service to them. It looks like their threats are not being heard by government. The government is not doing anything to fix this situation. And as we already know that currently they are on a partial strike. So they are saying that if by the close of this week, government doesn't say anything or come out to give them anything proper to address their concerns, they would begin a full withdrawal of their services, and this involves the withdrawal of HIV services. You know, they are the only source that gives out the antiretroviral drugs, and also issues about program and these issues about TB and emergency. So it means that there's a total suspension of their services within the country, and they have a number of about 600 pharmacists in the country. So they are saying that this has been happening for so long. And one critical issue we should be looking at now is the NLC and their commitment in addressing their concerns over.
Okay, that's beg your pardon, that's Matilda Wemega. She's been speaking with government pharmacists who are threatening a complete strike.